One. Hello, welcome to the Jenkins Documentation Office Hours. Today is May 15th. Around the table, we have myself, Kevin Martins, Birzit Saikya, Bruno Verachton, and Chris Thurn. Others may join, and if they do, we'll be sure to welcome them in and add them to the agenda. But for the time being, let's just go over the agenda and we'll start at the top. So, first things first, the contributor spotlight, documentation fixes implemented recently, just some notes on Java 25 docs, community awards, the revamped pipeline visualization, some updates for Google Summer of Code, the Chinese documentation site and plugin, LTS and weekly releases, some recent work done, and the recent discussion topics we've had: Alpha Omega stuff, plugin developer docs, Blue Ocean deprecation, and just a reminder about Google Season of Docs. Is there any other topics that I didn't cover or anything we need to add to the agenda? Okay, great. So then we'll get started. So for the contributor spotlight, so Sasha Laburi's been published, featured, and live. Elin Rabinovich, who's a chairperson for Scale, will be the May spotlight. I'm putting that one together now. Meg McRoberts has shared her response. Alyssa's reached out to Melissa from the JFrog, and we've been discussing other potential candidates for the spotlight. So AWS, will potentially OSU Open Source Labs as well. So more to come on that, but we're looking around for different folks that we can spotlight and different projects that we can spotlight as well who have supported Jenkins. So if there's anyone or anything you can think of, please feel free to share that. We're open to ideas and who we could potentially feature there. For the documentation fixes, so there was a message in the user experience or the user Jenkins user group about the Java update instructions only being up for 17. So I've gone through and updated all the Java for or all the installation docs, any of the other tutorials and other guides for Java 21 specifically. So now any installation guides that were mentioning a specific Java version now look for 21. Same with the Jenkins file runner tutorial, Docker tutorial. And now the only remaining mentions of Java 17 are historical or specific to uh, something that is calling for that exactly, and nothing else. So thanks to that user for all of this. This is also helping us with the Java 25 documentation. So by going through and updating all of these things, it's keeping a track of all these and creating a list of all the areas that will need to be updated for Java 25 once that's available. It's not part of the Jenkins weekly or LTS releases just yet. Early access will be later this year. So once that's available and part of the release, we'll make sure to include that in the documentation. And just so welcome to both Mark and Meg, who joined when I was getting started here. So thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Next up on the agenda is the 2025 Jenkins Community Awards. So this is, we're now in the voting period for this. This is, if you go to, Alyssa just posted a new blog post for the Jenkins Community Awards, basically highlighting what the categories are and who the nominees are for each category, and a link to the Jenkins Award voting form. So if you have not done so yet, please submit your votes here. And this is going to be compiled until June 16th. The voting period has been extended. Originally, it was going to end in early June, but it has been moved up until June 16th now. So more time to cast votes and collect votes. And then the winners, as previously, they're going to be announced at CDCon 2025 this year. So June 23rd to 25th, they usually get announced somewhere in the middle or towards the end. I forget what last year's schedule was like, but if you haven't had a chance to vote yet, you'll have plenty of time to do so. Please do so we can honor those people that are seen as valuable to the Jenkins project. Everyone is valuable, but we like to honor some folks here who have been outstanding in one way, shape, or form. the revamped pipeline visualization. So this was a blog post that Jan Faracek put together, highlighting all the updates and advancements made to the pipeline graph view plugin. This is fantastic work that's been done by the UI UX SIG, Jan, Tanjucom, Marcus Winter, others. This is a lot of great work. This is a great alternative for pipeline visualization, since we are moving away from Blue Ocean and not suggesting Blue Ocean as much. This is a great way to get the pipeline visualization. And the nice thing is that Jan's included some screenshots of what it looks like in a controller, as well as how to see it in action on Jenkins Core, which is great, so that you can get a real-time experience of what it looks like. So can expand that and shrink and zoom in. You can get the stages. The stages also have individual information. You can see the processes and the steps, which is great. So just thanks very much to Jan for outlining all that, putting that together, and for all the work that everyone's done to get that updated from where it was just a couple years ago when we talked about it at the 2023 Contributor Summit, or 2024 Contributor Summit. I'm sorry.
But
That was really the kind of.
uh,
Go ahead, man.
so go ahead, finish what you're saying.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say the 2024 summit was kind of the catalyst for kicking off a lot of work and advancements being done on the Pipeline Graph View plugin, so, it's just great to see it come such a long way in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, it looks cool. In the section where we still have Blue Ocean and we tell them it's deprecated, do we want to link to this blog so that if people find that they can jump over and see about this, or is that a bad idea?
No, I think that's a great idea. Sorry, cats, running around.
Oh,
No, that's a great idea. I'm gonna actually, link this in. Gonna add that in for myself. I think that's a great call. I think that's because that's one of the things that we're planning on doing is replacing the Blue Ocean documentation with alternatives, pointing them in the right direction, giving them the resources for that stuff. So it's a great idea, Meg. Thanks for calling that out. And it's something I'll probably act on um, sooner than later.
cool.
Yeah. Anything else on the pipeline graph view or revamped pipeline visualization? Okay. So then the next item's Google Summer of Code 2025. So um, this was announced last week. The Jenkins project has had 5 projects selected, so this is fantastic news. The Google Summer Code website is updated and has the listed projects and contributors. So thank you to all of the contributors that had their projects selected. Congratulations. And for everyone else, there was over 160 proposals that we reviewed and that were submitted. That's a lot of work and a lot of people with enthusiasm for the projects. So that's great to see. Thank you very, very much to everyone involved. To Chris Stern, to Bruno Rushton, to Alyssa as org admins and admins, to all the other mentors, lead mentors, co-mentors, and all of the participants. Really excited and looking forward to that. We're in the community bonding period right now, and coding period starts on June 2nd. So we've got some time before that, but just really looking forward to getting that started, and more details to come on that as we move through the process. There hasn't been any significant changes or updates to the Chinese documentation site and plugin discussion that we've been continuing. So nothing new here. Still more to come on that. Probably once Google Summer of Code is completed, we'll be able to take another look at that. Chris, any insight on that or?
Yep. I think I'm gonna start working on it, like, maybe sometime next week or after next week. Seems like once we have, like, the Google Summer of Code, like, set up during the bonding period, and once we have, like, the logistics worked out, I will start on that one. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Appreciate knowing that. So yeah, so more to come on that. And yeah, we'll check in with Chris once there's some more information available, some updates had there. So thank you very much, Chris. For the LTSM weekly releases, so just at the end of April, we had 2.504.1 release. So The end of May is going to see 2.504.2. I've got the changelog and upgrade guide pull request here open for review. It's a very small changelog as of right now. The backporting ticket only had one entry, so that's reflected here and doesn't need an upgrade guide entry. So the screenshots here are what we're looking for. But yeah, something small, but something there. And then we've also had the 2.509 and 2.510 weekly releases in the last couple weeks. Specifically with the 2.509 release, the Docker images being used are defaulting to Java 21, JDK 21. So we've included a banner to let users know about that. JDK 17 is still available, but it has to be specified. So no real issue with any of that. But for users that aren't necessarily aware or that might not have seen the Docker changelog, we want to make sure that they're aware of that. So, and there are a lot of different changes on the 2.509 changelog as well. So making sure that everyone's aware of all that is good to have and important. And then just yesterday, the Jenkins security team published a security advisory for multiple Jenkins plugins. So these are specifically plugins. There are no core issues or updates in this advisory. So there was no core release for any of these things. So thanks to Jenkins security team for all the work they do always and for putting this together. It's great to see, and it's nice that we can acknowledge and give credit to those that are working on these issues and have found resolutions for them as well. As far as recent work on Jenkins.io goes, so thanks to Mark for fixing the reuse node sample pipeline. It was pointing to something incorrect before, so now that it's updated, it's as intended. Thanks to Harold for updating the developer documentation for HPI requirements. This was something they pointed out as an issue, that if they don't have the appropriate versions, then there'll be some issues with getting things up and running. So thanks to Harold for adding that information in there. Really great to see. Tim Jacome updated the crowding configurations so that there's not unwanted uploads. So thanks to Tim for that. There was the possibility that you could errantly upload some translations, but it stops them now. So we're preventing issues from starting. There's going to be some more work done on that to make sure that they are correct. But at this point in time, we're preventing anything from getting uploaded incorrectly. So great to have there. And Birji, thanks for updating the servlet installation docs and including the Tomcat 10 stuff. That was an issue created somewhat recently, so thanks for taking care of that and getting the documentation updated accordingly. And I didn't get a chance to add this into the agenda just before, but for also updating the Kubernetes installation guides had some links that were not pointing to the right information. So thanks to Birji, they're updated now and pointing to correct links so that users can get the intended content for what the instructions are guiding them towards. The Alpha and Omega, not selected, maybe later, but the idea between this and the developer documentation is that we would be looking to create some new guides for developers for plugin maintenance and maintainers, not just improving them and modernizing them, but continued maintenance and ways to adapt plugins and continue to make sure that they are functioning, continue to make sure that they are up to date with Jenkins, et cetera, et cetera. There are a handful of different topics, but the idea is that we can improve the plugin developer documentation so that it's more reliable and has the information necessary for these sort of actions to take place. We do need folks with that knowledge to help contribute to that. So folks like Darren Pope that have great insight into a lot of different parts of this would be nice. But something we have to work towards and develop at some point. Hopefully I can talk with Antoine Neveu, who brought this up in the first place, about what that might look like or what kind of resources that he would ideally like to see available. because that can help guide us to what we need, what would be higher priority, what would be most valuable, stuff like that, where that insight is really valuable. And, I don't necessarily have, as I'm not a developer, but um, for him, for people that are just getting started, for people that might be, developers, but not in the Jenkins space, what would they like to see? What would they be using? What would be good to have? And what kind of things might not be as necessary, but nice to have? There's a lot of different directions and a lot of different information that we could be looking for. So having an idea of what that would ideally look like would be great. So more to come with that. And then the blue ocean deprecation. So, as Meg pointed out earlier when we were discussing the pipeline graph view, so blue ocean deprecation is coming. We don't know when exactly, but the process of getting ready for that can be started now. So, updating the blue ocean status note to include a link to the pipeline graph view blog post and even the pipeline graph view plugin page itself are great ways that we can encourage users to find alternatives to Blue Ocean for things like pipeline visualization. There's been a lot of work being done in the Jenkins UI to help alleviate some of that load as well, where um, pipeline stages, pipeline graph view, the plugins that are available in the ecosystem. There's just a lot of things that are going on in the background to make Jenkins better user experience overall. So we'll be pointing to those things, but right now we're keeping an eye on when the deprecation might take place. We've got the status notes already in the documentation stating that Blue Ocean is not supported. So it's just a matter of figuring out what the alternatives are and where they would fit into the documentation as it is now. So more to come on that. We'll be taking more steps as we get closer to the actual deprecation point. But that still has to be determined. So no real threat or urgency at the moment, but there are things we can do in the meantime to help just inform users and readers of that stuff.
So the new pipeline view stuff is in core now. It's released, right?
The pipeline graph view is the plugin specifically.
Oh, okay. So they have to, and that doesn't go in by default. They have to install that separately.
Right. Yeah, but it is
Okay.
available, released, and regular releases continue to flow.
Okay, cool.
And then the last note here is something that Mark added last time, but Google Season of Docs program is now ended. They announced it in a Google group thread, but the Google Season of Docs has been completed now. Jenkins was able to participate, and several other Jenkins contributors and folks that are involved with Google Summer of Code, for instance, right now, have participated in the past. So great to see that the program had legs for a while. Sad to see it go, but we haven't participated in a little while, so it's okay. Um, I've reviewed some of the pages. I did find a couple of areas. We do have the Google Season of Docs page in Jenkins that needs to be updated to reflect that it's no longer current, and update the documentation sig page itself. It does list it as a past project, but just updating this text a little bit to reflect how there are no current plans, but there isn't an option for it anymore. So just a little update to the text, something I can take care of.
So, Kevin, you're okay. You're okay. You're not looking for somebody else to do that. It's okay if you do that.
Yeah, totally.
Great. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Yeah, no issues with that. I can take care of that. Um, yeah, I know I mean, this is pretty straightforward as far as updating the doxing page. And then this, I can just point to the Google message, the Google group message, if for further information, and just inform people that it's not um, something that anyone will be participating in, including us. So,
Great.
yep. Yeah, should be pretty straightforward. So that's the end of the agenda that I prepared for our meeting today. Is there any other topic or anything anyone else wants to discuss or bring up now that we have a little bit of time before we wrap up?
So fresh screenshots for the weekly. may be worthwhile at least coming up on the July 23rd new LTS whenever the baseline is chosen. So new topic, screenshot updates, right? So because or a screenshot review, because the revised header, and Kevin, you could open it up on weekly.ci.jenkins.io to show it. Weekly.ci.jenkins.io almost. So notice that there isn't the separate, and if you open up, so if you just open on a new tab, yeah, there you go, you're showing it. So notice that the breadcrumb bar across the top is there, but there isn't Manage Jenkins on the left. If you want to do Manage Jenkins, you've got to go over to the far right and click on, and of course you don't have permission, so it won't show it to you at all, which is good. But now if you were to go to change that to ci.jenkins.io, we'll see a very different experience. Yeah, and there we go. So notice that here, you'll have to, let's see. Yeah, so you'd have to log in, I guess, in order to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't help you because you don't have manage permission on this. Sorry, maybe it's not. Well, there is definitely a difference. Notice that the dashboard line in that previous page, there's that dashboard line, and the novel twisty turny chevron, the greater than sign that twists itself down and warps itself around. Open one of the folders, Kevin, and we can show it even more visibly.
Yep.
So as you hover over the word core or Jenkins, you'll see, oh, there's a downward pointing one, and then there's one that points to the right. And this is a long-standing behavior of Jenkins, but wow, is it complicated for first-time users to figure out why this thing is bouncing around. And the new experience is, at least for me, much more comprehensible. Now I'm having to learn some different click behaviors on occasion, but it's a lot simpler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Managed Jenkins has moved up into the top, far up in the right here. So,
yep.
And yeah, and Mark, as Mark said, this is only in weekly at the moment. So, with
not
the
ready to
July
shoot screenshots, but we may want to assess them and see.
Yeah. The new header design is something that is part of weekly. So the July LTS is going to be the next baseline bump. So there's a good chance this will be part of it, if not guaranteed. So screenshot review for any of the UI. I know for a fact there are plenty of screenshots that have the current LTS version displayed. So there will need to be some updates for the screenshots for sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that's all for me. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks very much, Mark. Great. So that takes us to the end of the agenda. And yeah, and once that'll be something we discuss further once we get closer to the July LTS. But yeah, this screenshot updates, something I'll start putting together and start looking for now so we can get a list of the places that needs to happen. But yeah, so thank you very much for joining today. Recording will be available in about 24 to 48 hours, cross-posted on community.jenkins.io. And until next time, take care, stay safe, and look forward to seeing everyone around the project. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.